What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Creativ Rise Podcast. Christy is back with us this week, which is so exciting. Better than ever. Not nasally anymore. We were so excited you were here today for this episode because we were talking about inquiry forms or inquiry forms, whatever way you say it.
We should
Christy
do a poll.
says
We should do a poll on our stories, whether you can call it inquiry or inquiry, and I bet it's 50-50.
Yeah, Christy calls it an inquiry form. Inquiry. I call it an inquiry form. Like I'm inquiring with somebody, right? Like how would you say...
I'm inquiring for somebody.
Yeah, see, it doesn't work. The argument's over. It's inquiry. Anyways, we were talking about inquiry forms today. Should they be short, long? What should be in them? What should not be in them? How do you use them? Do you put more than one on a page? Do you have more than one inquiry form?
Are they even important?
Are they even important, right? So we're going to talk all about that today. We've done a lot of things wrong with inquiry forms over the years. We've also done a few things right, which increases your sales. When you have a really, really good inquiry form, it helps you sell. It helps you sell a ton. And inquiry form is simply a sales tool. So right off the bat, if you are like, wow, I'm excited for this podcast. I already know that this is going to be good. I'm hoping to get a ton from this because I know my inquiry form needs some work. Or I think my inquiry form is also pretty good. If you're either of those two people, basically if you have a website, I got something for you. We've got a brand new free little tool for you. It is called the Inquiry Form Checklist plus examples little free thing that we're giving you guys. So all you got to do, go to the link in the description or creativrise.com/inquiry form. And what we're going to do is give you guys a layout of a checklist of must-haves on your inquiry form and a few examples, like a brand example, commercial example, a wedding example, and then kind of just like a broad one. And you can just check that out, and you can run through, sift through your own inquiry form, and see what is missing and add all that stuff in. So if you want a really easy, like done for you thing that you can just implement into your business, definitely go check that out. It's completely free. Our gift to you. Would love for you to get that in your hands. So again, link in the description of the podcast or creativrise.com/inquiry form. But the question, shorter or longer inquiry forms? Which one, right? There's arguments to both. So that is a huge question we're going to start with right off the bat. Should you have a short inquiry form or a long inquiry form? Well, the reality is the argument with the short one is if it's shorter, more people are going to be able to fill it out and there's less resistance there. Therefore, I'm going to get more actual inquiries, right? And that's a decent argument.
So it seems.
Now, the long, should I have a long inquiry form? The argument on that side is, well, the more data I can pull from the inquiry form, the easier the sales process is going to be. So right off the bat, I would love to encourage you, long inquiry forms beat short ones, because if you're so nervous about getting someone to fill out a 3 to 4 question short inquiry form, and you're like, I got to keep it short or else they're not going to fill it out, those aren't the type of people that are going to buy from you anyways. Totally. So the longer your inquiry form and the better your inquiry form, that's really asking good questions, giving you sales ammunition to make a sale, the more you are actually nurturing a potential lead to become a customer, which is really cool. And you're getting all the ammo to then, walk them through the sales process in a cool way. So short versus long.
I think so. Yes, because the whole point of an inquiry form that I believe is the tool, what it's supposed to do is create this reciprocity idea. It's supposed to create this reciprocity effect with you and your client. Because again, it's like the first real direct mode of communication. It's like, yes, you've got your socials. Yes, you have your website copy. But really the inquiry does feel like the first time you're personally really talking to them, right? Yeah. So you want this to be a great kind of first direct personal impression. So think about this in this way. Let's say you're speed dating, okay? You're on a speed date. I've never been on speed dating, but it kind of sounds a little bit fun. So I bet you sit down with somebody and you tell me between these two people which you would rather work with or be with as a partner. One, you sit down with somebody and all they say is like, hey, okay, name, phone number, address where you live, and then tell me anything you want to say about yourself. Probably not a good first little speed dating thing, and you might think it's actually kind of creepy. Now, if you go to like the second person, they sit down, they're like, hey, like, what's your name? Like, what are you hoping to get out of this speed dating thing? Like, what are you looking for in a partner? What are you nervous about with it, like entering a relationship? Like asking you great, deep questions, and then like the best way they can contact you in the future, and then they follow up within 24 hours with you. Like chances are you're going to want to go with that second person. So you want to make this inquiry form similar to dating. Again, it's that first direct mode of communication, which is going to lead me to my first tip for you when it comes to an inquiry form is speak how you would normally speak on a sales conversation in your inquiry form. I can't tell you how many websites I have seen and that we've been guilty at doing before, where you create this awesome copy for your homepage, maybe even on your portfolio page, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you click like the inquiry button and it goes to like a completely templated, just like so classic name, phone number, whatever. It's so dry, it's so awkward, and you can just tell it was copy and pasted from Squarespace or whatever, and they put no time and effort into it. Now, that's going to start a very cold relationship with somebody, right? That's a very cold relationship. So talk how you would normally talk. The best inquiry forms I've seen have been people who infuse their brand into their inquiry form in how they write their questions. Like, a lot of people are super cheeky and fun about stuff. Some people I even see, like, it's a part of their brand. They'll like swear in their inquiry form. Like, they just get full blown into it. I'm not saying you should be swearing in your inquiry form, but if you want to infuse your brand into your inquiry form, even just how you write your questions.
That's a phenomenal analogy. That speed dating.
Thank you.
That's really, really good. I didn't know you were going to bring that up. So that's really good. So guys, there's a couple different things that a great inquiry form should do. We just mentioned short versus long, probably go long. Christy just talked about the perspective, the mindset around why an inquiry form is really important. Here's a couple of different things that you really want to make sure you do, and if a good inquiry form is going to actually help you do with your business. So number one, a good inquiry form is going to give the person filling it out an opportunity to actually talk about their problems and or desires. Ideally both, okay? When you can get a potential client talking about their problems and or desires, again, ideally both, you are in a really good position to potentially make a sale. The second thing a really strong inquiry form is going to help you do is it's going to give you ammo for sales, ammunition to make a sale go through. Now, why is that possible? Because the more context somebody can give you on their problems and or desires, the more you can actually walk them through a comfortable and healthy sales process towards a sale. If all you ever get is their name, phone number, email, you have no idea what the problems are, right? So the more you can get, the more context you get, the more ammunition you have. And the last thing, last but not least, the best part about a good inquiry form is it's going to help you get the client, the potential client, excited for the next step. So a good inquiry form should have them knowing where they're being sent or what is going to be happening next. So like, hey, so excited to follow up with you. When you click submit, I'm going to be getting back to you within 24 hours. Like, it gets them excited about the future of your relationship, which is really cool. So the question is, how do you actually do that in an inquiry form without overwhelming people, right? How do you do those three things? How do you give them an opportunity to express their problems and desires? How do you show them, by giving them context to answer, contextual question to answer, that you have now ammo to sell them? And then last but not least, how do you get them excited for the next step? How do you show them what's going to be coming in the future? Show them what that relationship is going to look like. Well, there's 4 things that we're going to talk about in this podcast, 4 overall big things, and then we're going to give you a little bit of a inquiry form checklist at the end of this episode. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But number one out of 4, one of the biggest things that your inquiry form should have is a dream outcome section. You've got to be able to figure out, okay, how can I give this potential client, this prospect, the person coming through my form, an opportunity to really tell me what their outcome that they're desiring is, right? So one of my favorite ways to put it is like actually put it in question format. Hey, if you could snap your fingers and in 6 months from now, you had all your wedding photos back, how was the experience and what do the photos feel like to you? Like, what is that? Tell me about it. What's the dream outcome there? Or if it's a brand, like if you could snap your fingers and this campaign was done, what would it be doing for your company, right? So that is a key question. It's a motivating question. It's a question that pushes somebody into the perspective going, okay, if this goes really well, I'm getting excited about that, right? It's an exciting question. It is one that you do not want to skip. Super important.
That'll also help you quantify too how much they're going to want to put in, even price-wise. Like if someone's like, well, I'm really hoping that this content will actually double our following, which will then triple our sales or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. And so figuring out like, hey, what the dream outcome looks like, what that can actually do for somebody. And then now I want to go into number 2. Our point is don't shy away with asking questions about their fears or their problems. Again, a lot of people are like, I don't want to be negative. I want to stay only positive, especially in the inquiry form. Absolutely not. Because if you listen to anything that we do, you always know that we constantly say that fear is more powerful than desire. It just always is. That is human nature. And if you can figure out, if you had to ask me, would you rather know a client's dream outcome or their fears? I would rather know their fears because that's going to tell me more about what they don't want. And I can then sell them on what I'm doing that's going to combat those fears for them. So ways you can talk about that. You can say, hey, what's holding you back from creating great content right now? Or what are some of your fears about hiring out X? Or if it's like a wedding, what are you nervous about having your day captured? Like what are you nervous about the photo experience? Like I want to help make sure you feel comfortable. Like add on something positive at the end of maybe like a negative question, but something like that can be super helpful.
Why have you not accomplished this yet? You know, what's holding you back from having done this 6 months ago? Have you ever experienced working with anybody like me in the past and it didn't go well? Tell me about that, right? Like that is a phenomenal question. That's a great question for a sales call too, if you don't sneak it into your inquiry form. Now, the third thing, okay, so we started off with you got to have some type of question that's going to get their dream outcome. Number 2 is you got to have some type of question that's going to get them to talk about their problems. Number 3 is you have to have a secondary form of contact. So we all know this. Email can be a little bit sketchy. Sometimes when somebody gives you your email in an inquiry form and you reach out to them like, hey, Sam from X brand, I'm so excited to potentially work with you. Let's jump on a call and talk about it. It might go to their junk or their spam. They might not see it. Maybe they don't even check their email, right? So you want to see if you can get their phone number and or their social media, right? So make sure you don't just have name and email in there. You've got like name, email, phone number, or social, you know. You want to get a secondary form of contact because that is going to really, really give you some redundancy in making sure when you reach out both ways, you're going to get an answer. So if you get 2 forms of contact, make sure when you reach out to that person, hey, Sam, I just sent you an email. I'm so excited to DM you here on Instagram as well. By the way, your account looks super cool or the brand looks super cool. I sent you an email. Please let me know if you cannot find it. I'm happy to resend it or send it through here.
Yeah.
Send it on both, right?
Oh, yeah.
Super, super important to dual follow up. When you respond to an inquiry, make sure you're following up with them in multiple places, not just one.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times people go through the mastermind. We talk to them about this and they go, I'm just not getting any responses. And we're like, well, like how many times have you reached out to them? Oh, I just sent them the one email and they haven't responded yet. I'm like, well, have you hit them up on Instagram? No. Yeah. Have you texted them? No. Can I do that? I'm like, absolutely. Like 100%. They reached out to you. It's your duty to get them the information they requested, right?
They give you the contact, use it.
Really important to dual follow up. Really, really important.
And then last but not least, to put the budget in is always the question. People are always like, do I ask the budget question? How much they're willing to spend? Do I have them type in what their wedding budget is? And here's my statement with a caveat. Don't put in the budget. Don't put the budget question in. Now, here are my 2 caveats to that. If you are someone who's like, I'm getting overwhelmed with inquiries and I don't have the time of day to send out those no responses like it's under budget or I have too many people reaching out and I know that a lot of them are low ballers, then you can put in the budget. However, I always never put in budget into my inquiry form for my wedding business because I was like, I'm actually confident that I could sell someone in the process. I'm confident that I could up someone's budget through the process in my sales framework that I've got going on. I think it's so good that somebody who maybe had a original budget, they might squeak up a little bit more in order to hire me because they have fallen in love with me in the process. So that's what I would say. Hire somebody. I literally hired somebody to handle my nose. Like I just was like, I don't care if I'm overwhelmed with inquiries. That's fine. But I want to get these inquiries. And I want to see who's got in my inbox with this stuff. So that, or here's what I would say, put a budget in if you are trying to sticker shock people on purpose. So if you have like a high ticket, whether it's a luxury wedding or it's like, oh, I've got this brand consulting thing that I'm doing that's really high ticket. That's right? Brand therapy.
On our brand therapy website, it says, are you in a position to invest a minimum of $10,000 USD into bettering your brand? And then it's like a yes or no multiple choice. It's like, yes, I am ready. Let's do it. No, I don't want to like better my brand, right? Yeah, but I'm qualifying the people going through that form because I'm like, I don't have time to waste on people who have a budget of $2,000 when I'm trying to sell them on a $15,000 day of consulting, right? So I need to sticker shock people.
And it's a part of the brand. It's like a value that you're trying to show in there. And it's same thing with like really, really high-end luxury. It would be like, hey, are you ready to spend X amount of dollars? Then that like qualifies leads, but it also makes your brand look super exclusive. So if that's the vibe you're going for, then yes, put the budget question in there. However, if it's not, keep it out. And trust me, you can convert a lot of low budget people into high budget people through a great sales framework.
So good. That's a big question. So I'm about to give you a checklist, a little bit of you should have all of these blank checklists for your actual inquiry form. Before I do that, a reminder, we want to give you this checklist in a visual form too. So go to the link in the description. You can check it out, creativrise.com/inquiry form. It's going to give you the checklist plus a few different examples of actual just like done for you built inquiry forms that you can just kind of look at and copy and put on your own site. So completely free, our gift to you. But here is the checklist, okay? So you should have, we're going to rip through a bunch of these different things right here. So pause this, rewind, whatever you got to do, but I'm going to rip through this fast. Again, if you want to see it visually, it's probably helpful. Go to our website and give you that for free. You should have your name, okay, or multiple names if it's a wedding. So bride and groom name, or like partner's name, whatever it's going to be. Name. You should have business name if applicable. So if you're working with businesses, organizations, business name if applicable. You should have email, okay? So that's your first point of contact. You should then have phone or Instagram or social or whatever. So you're having name, business, email, and then a secondary form of contact. So a phone or Instagram, super important, okay? Then if this is a business, I want you to put the question in there too. Describe your business. What is the products you sell or the services you sell? So you want to give a little description, get a little description of what their business actually is. And then you're going to have website with that if it's a business. If this is a bride and groom, don't worry about that. No worries at all. Now, this is a very important question that goes for businesses and it goes for couples, people, family shoots, whatever it's going to be, weddings. Dream outcome questions, okay? So if you could snap your fingers and you've got exactly what you wanted, what does that look like? Describe to me what your main desire is here. If we could knock this out of the park, if this is a home run for you, what would this look like? I want you to literally write out a question in your own words that looks like that, so they can actually start to visualize you getting them there in their own head, and then they can actually type it out and tell you what that's going to look like, okay? Super, super important. Then you need a problem question. If you don't talk about the problem, you probably are not going to get permission to solve it. The person who talks about the problem the most and gets to go back and forth with the client about their problems often builds trust and some rapport and then gets permission to solve it. So you need to have a problem question in your inquiry form. So a question like, which problems are you currently facing with your content? Maybe you make it multiple choice. I have a quality problem. I have a quantity problem. I have a quality and quantity problem, right? Put in a problem question that they can answer. Very, very important. Now, this is a question I love. This next one. How quickly are you wanting to make a decision on X? So how quickly are you wanting to make a decision on hiring a wedding photographer? Or how quickly do you want to revamp your brand and start selling more through social media, right? This is a very important question because some people are not that serious of purchasers or buyers, and they're not that serious about working with people. But you want to know who the people who are like, oh, I needed this done yesterday. Like you want to know if someone's like, we need this done ASAP. That often means that it can be more expensive. You can charge more for it. They're just a warmer lead, right?
For
so
sure.
you want to know how far in the process they are, right? That's a very important question. So how quickly are you wanting? State your solution. Are you wanting to hire a wedding photographer? Are you wanting to make a decision as a wedding photographer? How are you wanting to hire a social media manager? Are you wanting to hire a brand content creator? Whatever it's going to be, right? Now, date of project, if this is applicable to you, so date of project or date of wedding, location of project, location of wedding, whatever it's going to be. And those are just say beside them like if applicable, answer if applicable, right? And then anything else we should know, okay? So that is like the main overall, just quick checklist. Again, name, business, email, phone number, Instagram, or both. What does your business do? Dream outcome, problems. How quickly are you ready to make a decision on this? Date of project, location of project, anything else we should know. Now, we've got a couple bonuses. But before we get into the bonuses, there's probably a lot of you guys listening to this going, Joey, this sounds really good, but how the heck am I supposed to create one form that actually speaks to a couple different things that I sell? Because I sell a couple different services, right? Now, that was me as well. That is me. I have multiple different things I do, right? I always did that. My agency forever, by the time when I started at 14, all the way through the whole 10 years that I've been self-employed, I have done so many things. I am a
serial entrepreneur. Faceted.
Yeah, multifaceted problem solver. Like I solve, it's photo, is it video, is it this, is it marketing funnel? Like what am I building for you? What are we doing, right? So how do you build one form that can do it all? The answer to that is you don't.
Yeah.
Do not make your form suck. Often people make their form suck because they're trying to make it really broad to cover all the services they do. So general that it's such a bad form. Here's what you do. On your contact page, you create a contact page, and on the contact page, instead of it being like one dumb form that's not very good, it has no actual detail to it because you're like, oh, my services are too broad. I need just one broad form. No. List all your services. Are you inquiring about photo, video, hiring me to shoot your wedding. Like list everything you've got, and each button takes them to a different form.
Yeah.
And then you can just duplicate your form and make it specific to that specific service. So you can really ask good questions about their dream outcome, about their problems. You can get everything in there. That's the way to do forms really well, is when you have multiple forms if you have different services. Okay. So that's a huge pro tip. Now, bonus tip about stuff you can add to your form. Number one, this is one of my favorite ones. If you have a business model where you're either selling something really high ticket and you want to get people on the calls so you can sell them, add that into your form.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the form, when they click submit, it auto takes them to a page that says, hey, thanks so much for submitting. I cannot wait to chat with you. Book your call now. Here's my available times in my schedule. And it's literally just a Calendly link. Like that is so good. You want to get people.
You would close so much more if you did that.
So much more, because people are just going to be, oh, great. Yeah, I can just book a call right now. It's going to get into their calendar. And now you guys have got a date. Going back to what Christy talked about earlier, you got a date. You got a first date. It's legit. It's happening. So that is a big tip right there. If you have a service-based business where you would benefit from getting on sales calls, which is practically all of you, build an automated scheduling link into your form at the end that auto directs them to a scheduling link where they can book a call with you. That's a big tip.
Yeah, big tip. Bonus tip number 2 is add a statement or a personal note above the inquiry form. So oftentimes, again, people just like, beautiful website, they hop to the inquiry form. It's like the driest page ever. There's no photos, there's no text. It's just the inquiry form. Oh. Add in some brand talk. Add in like maybe even just like a personal note from you at the top with a photo of you saying like, so glad you're here. Can't wait to chat. Yeah. Like we'll talk soon, whatever it is. Or like if you've got like a brand story that you want to put at the top, some like big, great statement about how what you do solves people's problems and makes their dreams come true, whatever you want to do, have that at the top. It just adds a little bit of personalization as someone's filling it out. They can see your face and go, that's the person I'm talking to.
Yeah, so good. Last but not least, the last tip is put something at the bottom of your inquiry form that tells them when you're going to reach out and say, hey, I'm going to get back to you in the next like 24 to 48 hours. Now, 2 reasons why you want to do that. Number 1, the faster you can get back to somebody when they inquire with you, the hotter they still are and the more you have the potential to close a sale. Number 2, the second part of why you want to give them an expectation is so that you have something to be held accountable to.
Yeah.
I cannot stand when people are like, oh yeah, I got to respond to some inquiries and it's been like 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 days since this person reached out and I haven't gotten back to them. Like, you need to get back to them ASAP. That is your job as a business owner, is to nurture leads and then close them, because sales is the blood of your business. So telling them, hey, once you click this button, I'm so excited to chat with you. If you're not sending them straight to a scheduling link, I'm so excited to chat with you. I will reach back out to you in 24 to 48 hours. Cannot wait to chat. Thank you so much for your time. That way, you're like, oh, shoot, someone inquired with me. I need to schedule out some time in the next couple hours to make sure I get back to them. So it gives them expectations and gives you an obligation, which is really, really important. So.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you guys, again, I hope this was so helpful. Again, you can see the visual part of this with even some like other stuff. creativrise.com/inquiry form. Check it out. If you don't know how to spell inquiry, just go to Creativ Rise on Instagram and click our bio and you can get it there as well. But thank you so much for listening. We hope this is super helpful. If it was helpful, throw it up on your story. Tag us. We'd love to repost you and just connect with you. Super appreciate all of you guys. Yeah. Thanks for helping us grow the show, and we love chatting with you guys every week.
Love it, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.